think about this. You're invited to dinner, right? Let's say me and you. I say, okay, we're invited to have steak or barbecue. It's going to fix us kebab tomorrow. Okay, we're going to barbecue. Now, I may say, I want to eat, I smell the food and I want to eat 4 تا کباب کوبیده من میخوام بخورم 4 تا دونه یعنی 2 تا اوردر because I smell I say I want to eat 4 now normally I eat 2 but I smell his kebab and I say I want to eat 4 so and I know when I start eating and I get some rice and I get some jujay and so I ate too much by the time because I finished 4 now for me the choice would be between eating too much or too little would have been eating none. But the happy medium for me would have been maybe 2, right? So in my case, I exceeded my happy medium by eating 4 or 5. Now, someone else, she could eat 2, which is a happy medium for me, that would be too much for her. Because normally she doesn't eat red meat and she only eats 1/2 of a kebab. So for her, the 2, which is a happy medium for me, would be excessive for her. So it's individualized in her case. That means a happy medium for you would have been maybe you eat your half that you did. So it changes. In other words, think of it something else. Exercise. I can play basketball for 2 hours or play tennis for 4 hours. Sun, rain, shine, doesn't matter, right? And I'm used to it. I used to play, right, every day. So it's nothing. But if someone who hasn't played wants to do that, that happy medium is maybe half an hour is too much for him. So it's individualized. The question is how to find the virtue of your virtue. Although courage is good, although moderation is good, then it's individualized to your specific potentials and your specific talent or a specific capacity. So this is how we solve that problem. So the idea is moderation is good, but as to what is that moderation has to do with the unique individual. So the same with the city-state, the same with the community. So he's going to tell you how this is going to work. Now,
this is more of a comment and a question, but this is like very much see parallels between this and like Buddhism and Taoism.
Yeah.
And in Buddhism, it says there's a story of the whole Buddha sitting by a tree and there's someone in the water, and it says like if you play I'll use guitar, if you string it tune it too tightly, it'll snap if you don't string that much.
Right. There are a couple of things that resonate. Of course, as you know, Buddha is much earlier than Socrates and Plato. But the idea of moderation and balance is quite apparent. The other thing that is also natural with Buddhism is the question of organic totality of the universe. That there is this totality that you belong to. There is this totality that exists outside of you. I want to mention 2 things, and I should have mentioned it then, but I thought this is a good time to do it. For Aristotle and Plato, the city, and ironically, this notion, if you remember I talked about, this becomes the basis of the word politics and policy, that which refers to the affairs of the city. For Aristotle, the highest form of the highest science is political science. Now, why does he say that? He says because everything else falls within this. Now, economics, right? Even mathematics, everything, because you have to do it within the city. In other words, you have to do it something for the city, even medicine. What do you do it with the people? So it's not outside the city. It's a master science to him because it's the community, with the community. So now this becomes the center. Now the reason I said organic totality, Plato and Aristotle, and especially Aristotle, emphasizes this, that city, remember city, Shah, politics, and the community, political community, is an organic totality that is in of itself worthy. This is known as the organic theory of the state, as opposed to instrumental theory of the state. Instrumental theory of the state says that the state is an instrument for something else. organic theory of the state looks at the state as something natural, organic, something worthy, something in of itself noble. Aristotle thinks that individuals are to serve the city because the most noble of entities is this community. When he says the city, he doesn't mean just this. He means the community. This is element of communitarian element in Aristotle. It means the community.
So back to that moderation thing. It still doesn't give my answer because I said whatever going in Libya based on the relativism, whatever he said is fair, and we can again argue that okay, the mean for the people of the Libya is whatever Gaddafi does.
Watch. I'm going to answer you here. Remember I said let's look at to see what this city is made of.
Yeah.
This is Aristotle in action. You have poor people, too much excess, too much money, you're rich, right?
Yeah.
Too little money, deficiency, you're poor. Aristotle is very matter of factual. He says in the city, you have comprised of the rich and the poor. He says you avoid both extremes. Don't give power to the rich. Don't let them rule. Why? Because they pass laws to benefit themselves and they're interested in money. He says don't give the power to the poor because they're too envious and they cause revolution and they change the entire structure. They have a baggage. Don't trust them. They have never had anything, so they want to destroy them. It's not stable for society. Watch this. Happy medium is to create a community, is comprised of a middle class that knows what it means not to have and what it means to have, and therefore will maintain society in a well-balanced society. Modern theories, how many times you hear this, that the lack of middle class, the lack of civil society, the lack of this is causing all kinds of stuff. He says poverty is the father of crime and revolution. Now, you talk about Marxist theories, but look what Aristotle says. This is 4th century BC. Now, he says, look at the city, and I'm going to give you the forms of government he discusses, but the relationship with the reason that becomes important, which is not quite Aristotle's cup of tea to say, oh, well, Gaddafi is... No, because, watch this, because he said the highest form of life is to have a balanced virtues. Where has Gaddafi been virtuous? How was he virtuous?
Okay, let me rephrase my question. Ruhollah Khomeini in Iran, he's virtuous. He claims it and he has a follower and he says, okay, this is the virtue and this is good for my community and this is good and whatever you do in the West is good for you guys. So, and you cannot argue with him based on that.
No. Let me, and that's why I said when you enter into his ethics and politics, they're quite related. He divides virtues into two different categories: intellectual virtues and practical virtues. Okay, and practical virtues. Intellectual virtues is that with our sagacity, wisdom, and this type of knowledge base. Practical wisdom has to do with this type of stuff that you see. Being miserly or not miserly, being judicious or not judicious, and what type of, so in practice what you do. Can I start?
Yeah.
Let's stop and then I'm gonna answer your question in a second. You'll see in a second how it works out. I